Is that fast. Now, coming into this turn, it's not gonna look that impressive, but watch the water bottle if you can, and it just grips so ridiculously well. I don't even understand how it's that good. This car is incredible. What's going on, guys? Car review guys here. My name is AJ, and this week we have a very special car. This is the 2025 Aston Martin DB12, and obviously that replaced the DB11, and we're going to be going through the full review today and just how good this drives. I want to start this video out by not meaning it's not bragging or anything like that for what I've owned, but I want to at least say what I've owned so you understand basically what I can compare this against. Now, I've had a 2013 Maserati Granturismo MC Edition, which had a ZF transmission, which this also has a ZF transmission. I've had two Audi R8s Gen 1. I have also had two Acura NSXs. I've had a bunch of different Corvettes, which again, a lot of these are not competitors of this car. However, you're gonna understand that it's not like I've driven nothing. This is what I'm going to be essentially comparing some of it against. However, this is the world's first Super Tourer. Next video is going to be 5 things to love, 5 things to improve, just like we do every week, every single OEM. And I've got to tell you though, this thing drives incredibly well, and we'll get into that once we get to driving it. If you're new to my channel, over 24,000 subscribers, thank each and every one of you. And here's how it's going to go in case you want to skip through. We are going to go around the exterior, stats, figures, stuff I feel like you guys would want to know about the car. Then we're going to jump onto the interior, touch through some of that, then we'll be taking it on a drive. Same format every single video. And as always, let's go ahead and get right on into this full review. Let's roll. Let's go through some of the stats and figures and stuff I feel like you guys would want to know on this DB12. It is a 4-liter twin-turbo V8 pushing 671 horsepower and 590 pound-feet of torque. Transmission is an 8-speed ZF auto transmission. Drivetrain is rear-wheel drive. Curb weight's coming in at 3,942 pounds, which is pushing it from 0 to 60, and this is according to Aston Martin's website, 3.6 seconds. I think it might be just a hair lower than that, to be 100% honest with you. Now, MPG, 15 city, 22 highway with a combined average of around 17 MPGs. Gas tank size is 20.5 gallons. Vehicle dimensions, overall length, you're at 15.58 feet. Width is around 7 feet. She is girthy, and it looks really good in the mirrors. We'll show you that. Ground clearance is 4.7 inches, and height is around 4.25. Now, pricing. She is not cheap, but it is an incredible car. So pricing starts at $253,000. That is the base. The tester today is $337,000, and that is including the destination charge. While we are back here, let's go ahead and talk through some of the exterior things that you may or may not notice, definitely from pictures or video. So now, if we come down here, you can see you've got all these little holes kind of designed in there, and that looks really good. It does remind me a little bit of the Roma, if you're not familiar, for the Ferrari Roma. But if you look at the hips on this car, I don't know if you can see just how wide that truly is from the rest of the car, but it looks incredible. Now, some of the other things that you're probably not going to notice on camera is if you just look at this, and you really cannot tell. But if you come back here, this is actually for airflow. It's going to go straight through there. It's going to channel through. It literally has a connector here in the trunk, comes through, and I believe it comes out right there, which is essentially going to come out and down, and it's going to keep this rear end planted with some downforce. The other thing that you may or may not notice, third brake light is located right up there. Fuel door is here on the passenger side. Optional is the clear smoked tail lamps, which look really, really good. And then of course the tires in the rear are girthy for this thing, which is 325/30/21s. The other thing to note on this vehicle is this is in my understanding, this is the first vehicle with these production tires. I believe they're 5S's or S5s, either way, they're Michelin's. And they basically have sound deadening in them. You can see right up in there, hopefully it is the Pilot Sport S5s. So yeah, there is some sound deadening in there. And again, we'll get to that in the drive, but you can definitely tell the engineering behind and just how quiet and luxurious this vehicle is. Again, for being a GT, but not a GT car, because again, this is the world's first Super Tourer. Now, while we're here, you're probably going to notice there are carbon ceramics on this one. That is optional, and it is on my tester today. However, obviously, you don't have to get that if you don't like. However, if I'm spending the price tag on this car, most certainly I am getting the carbon ceramics. Few other details just to note. You can see it does have a 360 camera. The camera blends in really well. It's kind of hard to see, which is good. The door handles, just to touch on it, basically you can push there and pull. And that is essentially how you open the door, which a lot of vehicles have that nowadays. And then let's just take a look at these headlamps in detail very quickly. And they're not flashing in person, that's just the camera refresh rate. You can see just how elegant they look. You've got Aston Martin located right there. Hopefully you can see that. And just all of the little details, it's very intricate. That takes a lot of time to design. I'm a supply chain guy in automotive, or at least I used to be, and trust me, I've been through the engineering process to help them with some of these things on other manufacturers, and that takes a long time to do. That is incredibly, incredibly done. Moving on to the front, you have a nice big front grille, and it allows a lot of air to that 4-liter twin turbo, and it basically goes right underneath the Aston Martin emblem. There's a camera right there, and there's literally a snorkel underneath this hood, and it basically pushes air straight to where those twin turbos are located. And you can even see some vents located up here for heat extraction, and it's definitely well designed. The turbos basically sit right in this area. And with that said, we'll go ahead and pop the hood so that way you can see it in a second. Again, just popping the hood really quick so you can see what this looks like. You can see those turbochargers way back there. You have increased stability in this car as well. For the frame, you can see the crossbar there, which again previously was not on, I believe, the DB11. Don't quote me 100% on that one because I have not reviewed a DB11. But if we take a look at the hood, you can see that snorkel and where it basically channels air. That is what I am referring to, and I've got to tell you, very well designed here. Here in the rear, taking a look at the trunk. Again, I was kind of telling you how the airflow comes through. You can see where it comes through here, and it actually connects right up in there. And again, I do believe it comes out back here. While I have found nothing 100% on that, I would say, just based on following it, that is what it does, and that would make 100% sense, because this thing in the rear is by far and away the most stable rear-wheel drive car I have ever driven. Now that we're back here, you can see there is some trunk space. I believe it is around 9 cubic feet, and I don't know for sure if it would fit a golf bag. I might do a short on it, but I think because it has cutouts here and there, it might fit one golf bag. Don't think you're fitting more than that though. Before we jump on into the interior, let's talk on the doors. Now, if you know, then great. If you don't, I'm going to educate you. This door essentially comes up at an angle. I'm going to try to hold the camera there so you can maybe see. It goes up at an angle just a little bit. And the whole reason for that is to avoid curbs, which is really, really smart. Having that open just a little bit. Now, Aston Martin's done that for a very long time, so many of you are going to know that. But the one thing that I didn't know, this was the first Aston Martin really that I have had my hands on, And the hinges are really cool. This will not come out on camera. You will not be able to tell. However, I am going to just explain it. Now, you are here. You can bring it to there. Wherever you want, it will stay. There is no like 1, 2, 3 clicks like in the hinges. Like it's just constant pressure. You can literally set this thing wherever you want. Even if you're on a hill, like if the car was like banked this way, then essentially the door would stay where it is and it doesn't continually try to keep shutting on you. It is very, very nicely designed. Before we step into the interior, let's go ahead and take a look. You can see all of this nice quilted genuine leather. It looks super nice. Now, of course, we're in broad daylight. Not gonna be able to see it. However, there's ambient lighting located up in the door handle. I believe it's along there as well. And then there is a gap up in this area. And same thing, repeat on the passenger side. And I believe in the footwell as well. So a lot of ambient lighting, feels really nice at night. And again, just take a look at these seats. I mean, you've got Aston Martin stitched in the headrest. You can take a look at this and it is all like just so soft. Now it does have a back seat. It is a 2+2. And if we take a look, you can see it'll automatically kind of motorize up there. And I'm gonna be honest, I'm not crawling back there. It is super tight, right? Just like a Mustang or a Camaro. Now, if you have little kids, you can definitely fit them. Or if you have someone really short driving and then still someone like 5'2", they might fit in the back. But again, not all that useful, but it is there if you have the ability. I test getting in every single vehicle. Now, again, this is not a supercar. This is not a GT car. This is the world's first super tourer. Now, with that said, I'm gonna assume they want you to be able to use this car every single day. And what I have found is I absolutely could use this car every single day. Getting in is probably the easiest of any car of this type of caliber, if you will. For example, again, I've owned a Maserati Granturismo MC Edition. I have had 2 Lexus LC500s, and again, those are not direct competition type of cars, but again, those are cars that are trying to be in that GT style class, and this thing is so easy to get in and out of. It's honestly, I don't quite know how they did it. The other thing is it's low enough for incredible handling. However, I've had several different speed bumps, and just out of, you know, natural takes on how I drive cars, I always take them at an angle, but some of these I really didn't even need to take at an angle. This car sits just high enough to be very practical getting in and out of some steep situations relatively obviously. So the other thing that I found is I found myself very comfortable. There are, I believe, 3 different seats for this car, and there is basically like a carbon bucket seat, essentially. Then you have like the sport seat, which is these, and then there's a comfort seat, I believe, that you can choose from as well. As far as color, there's a million different colors that you can choose from, pretty much endless possibilities almost. And then exterior as well, there are so many options that you can choose from. So we're not even gonna remotely go through all of those. Pretty much if it's a color or spec that you wanna design, you can pretty much do that, which, you know, kind of makes sense. Now that we are in here, let's go ahead and take a look out in front of us, right? So I'm going to show you exactly my view, which is right there. That is my view. So if we take a look out that mirror, just take a look at the hips on this thing. Like, it looks so good. The other thing to note on this DB12 is the mirrors are smaller. However, because they're basically edgeless, they appear bigger and they work quite well. I don't have any issues. There is blind spot monitoring as well if you were to need it. And then just again, let's just take a look here out the rear view and then out the other side. Again, that hip is incredible. All right, out in front of us here, now this is really reminds me of like Mercedes type deal. So it's just a little square. You can basically scroll through what you would like. You can hit a button and then again, you can sit there and scroll to whatever you would like. So if I hit navigation, again, it'll load the navigation that are in the middle. There's a few different views you can go through and change. The other thing you'll note right now, I'm sitting in Sport Plus. There is a gauge right here. And if I were to turn it, it is a very, very satisfying click. To be honest, but it'll pop up here into the sport, and also you can see it in the gauge up in, or the instrument cluster rather, in front of us, and then in GT, and then also you have individual, and I believe there's a wet mode as well. Yep, there it is, wet mode. So I found myself in GT most of the time. However, I do go to Sport Plus, especially to see how this car truly is capable, and some S-turns and stuff like that, and it truly is impeccable. We'll get to that more in the drive. Nice big paddle shifters, again, for the DB12, something that is new. They are fixed to the steering wheel. So see how they turn with the steering wheel? Previously, they were over here on the column, and they were stationary, right? So they didn't turn with the wheel. So that is new as well, which is a nice touch, because again, if you're turning, you've got to be able to, you know, shift without getting confused where your hands are. So I think that was really, really a nice addition there. Now going ahead and moving over, you're going to notice, I believe this is the same size as the instrument cluster. I think they're both 10-inch if I'm not mistaken. Don't shoot me if I'm wrong on that. However, Aston Martin has really stepped up their game, located here in the center. It is really fast for response time. One of the cool things on the screen is the telemetry. You can see it'll basically show your power, shows your battery, and then your torque, and then a temp up in the top right there. But nonetheless, and then also your lights, your ambient lights, you can, you know, select that, and you have a zillion different colors that you can go through, select it however you would like. And then as far as the maps, again, crystal clear. They've done a good job, and essentially it'll make a full screen, right? You touch or drag or whatever, but it is nicely done. Now, if we come down here and we hit this camera, I was already telling you there is a 360 camera, and try to get rid of some of these reflections, sorry. If you come to this screen and you start to touch, it'll basically take you down like that. Now you can literally drag all the way around, which there are other OEMs that do this, but it is really a nice touch on this, especially if you need to see your front bumper again so that you don't hit a curb or anything like that. It is nicely done. They have really stepped up their game as far as this goes, and it still looks very classy in my opinion. Moving on down just a little bit, you have all these different scroll bars. You have a dual zone temp, which there and there. You have your engine start stop, which is in the middle, which for me has me all jacked up because usually, you know, most cars are sitting up in this area. So every time I go to reach up there, it's sitting right here in front of me. But you would get used to that very quickly. And then obviously you have your fan speed here, which you can control up here on the screen as well. Yeah, so if you hit up here and you hit the auto, then of course you can see your climate control. You can go through all of that. However, you do have scroll wheels here as well, and they are satisfying. Like, it's just not gonna show on camera, but they are super satisfying with how heavy they feel and just how it clicks. Like, I know that sounds really dumb, but it really does. It's nice. Now you have a ventilated seat, you have a heated seat as well. And then just working our way down, you got a few different things. You have traction control, you have your exhaust, which is an active exhaust, which will change by mode as well. But then also here you have your suspension, which will again automatically change based on mode. However, if you just want to individually change it, there's three steps technically. You have GT, essentially the softest. Then you go to that and it is a orange color. Then you can go one more, which is the stiffest, and then it goes to red, as you can see, and that is by far the stiffest. And then you have your auto stop start. Obviously, I generally click that as soon as I get in every single time. Not a fan of that. And you can then see you can go to manual mode here. Now, in order to go into drive, you just simply put your foot on the brake and then you just go down. And then if you want to go to reverse, you go up. And again, you can see it's got the 360 camera as well. Another thing that has me all messed up, again, is just because I'm just not used to it. And these seats are located here on the right side of your body. And that is different, not something that obviously many other brands do. And of course, it works fine. You have memory seating located down there as well. You can adjust it in many different directions. Now coming on up, you've got two cup holders, super nice to have, and I know that sounds a little silly, but it is nice. And then in here, we just have a little center console, and you've got two USB-Cs along with the other power outlet. Now, taking our way up, you can see the headliner on this thing, genuine leather, obviously, and it is really nice. There's also an option, I believe, for a glass roof, if I'm not mistaken, so you can kind of elect whatever you would like. And of course, if we come up here, you've got three different levels for your garage door openers and a frameless auto dimming mirror. Now, another thing that seems really silly is the one thing that is odd is these are super hard. Like, they are stiff. Now, they're wrapped in genuine leather, right? So that is super nice. But the most satisfying thing, and this again I know is going to sound really dumb, but this thing slides so smoothly, and then it clicks right at the end, and you can set it wherever you want. Like, it doesn't sit there and rattle or shake. Like, the fitment is absolutely perfect, which again, part of the price tag, right? They've done a really good job on fit and finish, and all of these little details take a ton of time and engineering and design and tolerance changes, and that's basically what they've perfected. But most importantly, it's how this car drives, and we're about to go take it out on the road. Let's roll. So I've spent some time behind the wheel of this DB12. I really wanted to make sure that I had a good grasp on how this thing drives to relay to all of you. And again, it's not a bragging point by any stretch. I am very thankful for the cars that I have owned, and maybe one day I will be able to own a car like this. However, at this very point, I'll be straight honest. I cannot afford this car as it sits right now. I mean, I guess if I moved into like the world's smallest house, and then, yeah, I could, you know, put enough down that I could afford it. But realistically, I cannot afford this car right now. Now, with that said, this is truly a special car. And price aside, if you didn't tell me a price and I did not know this price, and you just gave me the car and you said, hey, go drive it, tell me what you think, my reaction is going to be identical. And I actually basically recorded some road footage, not me, but out on the road, doing some testing. And I might put in like a little tiny clip here that you can hear my raw reaction. Like, this thing's insane. That is like just so genuine, because I wasn't even recording myself. I wasn't even planning on it. I was just trying to get some like B-roll type footage. And this car is special. It truly is. Now, with that said, my very first impression was seeing the car in person, noticing all of the different engineering cues for airflow and everything else on this car is truly, truly very, very cool to see. And now, behind the wheel, because that's where we are, this thing rides so smoothly. And when you put your foot down, it will absolutely get after it. Now, it has a little bit of turbo lag. So basically, if you were to do a standstill launch, 0 to probably 30 is pretty slow. However, 30 to 60, it's like that. I mean, it is absolutely, you can feel all of the 671 ponies in this, and it's quite quick. Now, if they ever figured out how to get rid of some of that turbo lag, I'm going to be honest, I think the 0 to 60 on this thing would be blistering fast. Like, I'm thinking like a 2.6. Like, I think you would shave probably an entire second off of the 0 to 60 just by simply getting rid of some of the turbo lag. Now, of course, after a standstill, you can always keep it in the right gear, and there's virtually no, you know, turbo lag, because as long as you get up to like 3,500, $4,000, somewhere in there, this thing is ripping. Now, on the contrary, or on another note, it truly drives like a GT everyday car. Speaking of which, we're coming up to the cattle guard for sound and suspension. Here we go. Like, nothing is silent over that cattle guard. You can go watch all of my other reviews. I do the same thing. And it handles itself so incredibly well. And this is not me, like, I'm going to give you some quirks on this car. This is not me just, you know, kissing up just because I got this car. That is 100% not it. I'm going to tell you some of the quirks and some of the things that I think that could be improved. And again, that's going to be the next video. And I'm going to tell you, for the price tag, there are a few things in this car they could improve upon. Drivability, again, turbo lag. Past that, there's nothing else. I do not think this is absolutely the best car I have ever driven that is rear wheel drive only. It has so much grip and so much downforce, and the handling is so good. Just hats off to Aston Martin. They've done incredible. Now, speaking on some of the features, because some of you may or may not care about some of these items, it does have lane keep assist, so it'll kind of bounce you in between the lanes. However, it does not have lane centering to where it truly stays lane centered. Now, everything I've read, I've gone through the instruction manual. I have, you know, tried to source YouTube. I am 99% sure it does not have lane centering at this time. If I am wrong and you know for a given fact, again, please feel free. You can correct me. I am okay with that. But in my testing, in my findings, it does not have lane centering. However, it does have adaptive cruise control, and it works quite well. Of course, you don't have to use adaptive, but you can if you would like to. Now these tires are truly, truly quiet. Now I have 3 different categories for sound. I have wind noise, I have tire noise, and then I have powertrain noise. In those 3, the tires are incredible, like truly incredible. The fact with the sound deadening in these new, again, 5S or S5 tires, whatever they are, made by Michelin, it took some engineering. I'll just put it that way. I know for a fact. I've driven so many cars at this point, that took some engineering, and hats off to them. That is really good because, again, tire noise, really quiet. Now, wind noise, I don't even know how they did it with an edgeless window. That really does blow my mind. Again, maybe there's some other really high-end cars that can do the same thing, and that's fine. Hopefully one day I'll get to experience those and I can tell you. However, like my Acura NSX, that was a $200,000 car, and there was 100% wind noise coming out of that window because it was edgeless, is what it is. However, they have done it in this car. It is so ridiculously quiet, you could hear nothing almost. Like a car just goes by at 70 miles an hour and you can, like, if you have nothing on and you're sitting in silence, you would have to concentrate to hear it. That's how good it is. Now, if there is sirens or something like that, yes, you can hear that. So don't freak out, because I know there's going to be a few Karens that are going to be like, oh, well, that's dangerous. It's not like that. Just calm down a little bit, okay? Now, the last is the powertrain. And the powertrain, again, you have a valved exhaust, and you can turn it basically, you know, a little bit louder, a little more throatier, has some little crackles in it, and it sounds amazing. Is it super loud? No, it is not, but you can absolutely hear it, and they've done a good job with that. Now, motor, you can hear that as well whenever you're hammering down, but when you're cruising at 75 miles an hour on the freeway, it is really, really quiet. All right, we're coming up to our S turn. We're gonna go ahead and pop this baby into Sport Plus, and we're going to turn out here, and then we're gonna do, again, just a little run to 60. All right, you ready, set, go, and it's to the floor, to the floor, to the floor, to the floor. Turbos kick in at 3,500, and off we go, 60. It's that easy. It is that fast. Now, coming into this turn, it's not gonna look that impressive, but watch the water bottle if you can, and it just grips so ridiculously well. I don't even understand how it's that good. This car is incredible. I would love the opportunity to track one of these, truly. And again, this is coming from a guy, again, this is the world's first super tour. This isn't even supposed to be a supercar. That's not even, like, it's supposed to have really good handling, but that is something on a different level. It feels like it's all-wheel drive. Like, it truly does. There is 0 wheel spin with 671 horsepower. Oh my goodness, that is so ridiculous. I can't even get the smile off my face. It's so crazy good. Again, I know that it should be for the price tag, but again, there are many of cars I have driven that are not worth the price tag. There are many. This one, man, if I had the money, I would 100%, this would be probably one of the cars I would be getting, because it's an everyday car. Like, I could drive this car every single day, daily driven, with just comfort. But then I'm on a road trip and I get to a twisty mountain road and I could absolutely rip it like we just did back there. And it is so, so fun. Like, it is truly, truly incredible, the balance that they've made with this car. Something truly special. Now, this time, let's brake torque it just a little bit so you can see the difference with the turbo lag. Again, water bottle will kind of show you. 3, 2, 1, and go. And now it kicks in. Here we go. 50, 60. I couldn't even say 60 fast enough. I'm not even joking. It said 63 or 64 by the time I said 60. That is unreal. Like, this car is unreal. Like, it truly is. Oh, and I did that in GT mode. So again, not a perfect one. I probably could have put it in Sport Plus, a little stiffer suspension. It probably would have done just a little bit better. You know, you're talking maybe a 1/10 of a second, maybe. But either way, those are just 2 takes that we just did. And I'll try to throw timers up on both of them just so you can kind of see. Again, just 1 takes really quick. It is unreal. Like, this car, and the handling, again, the handling feels so good in turns. Like, it is a point and shoot. Like, you can go back and forth. Like, it is just precise. And also, I have a 1LE Camaro. Again, not even in comparison to this. However, it is a track focused, right, road course type of Camaro, and the handling is really, really good in that car. It's on rails. My NSX was on rails. But again, my Maserati Granturismo MC Edition being more track focused, this, and again, I know that's a 2013, this is a 2025. Again, I understand that. But this thing absolutely has the handling that is just, it's on another level. And that's why it's a different price tag. It's not just a name brand. That's not what this is. Now, some of it has to do with it, but it's also a very beautiful car. I've driven this car around and I've tried to get a few of the things on camera. I just couldn't capture, and it's a little awkward pointing a camera at somebody else, but this car, you can't take it anywhere without people stopping you. I mean, like, people just absolutely, you pull up to a light and they're just staring like the whole time, and rightfully so, because it's gorgeous. It's such a beautifully designed car, and not only the looks, it backs it up with how it drives. And again, next video is going to be 5 things to love, 5 things to improve, and those improvements, there are some actual improvements that I'm going to have for this car that I think maybe this car should have for the price tag. Is it the end of the world? No, I would still buy it however, there are some things that I would definitely add to this car to make it that much better. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Again, please watch the next video as well. Truly special because of all of you, like, genuinely, thank you. I really, I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that I one day would be building a channel successful enough to have the privilege to get this car for a week, and cars like this for a week, right? I've had even LC500s, which again, are nowhere near this car. It's not a competitor of this car, but they are still very, very nice cars. And I've been blessed to own some very high-end and nice cars myself. And again, to all of you, thank you. All right, with that, got a little choked up there. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.